And the questions are going to focus on, actually, you know what, maybe I should try to take up 3. Let's say we have, this is just an example, sine theta is equal to opposite, I'm just going to use letters now, over hypotenuse. The first question we're going to take up deals with solving the top number in the fraction. Okay? Second question I'm going to take up is going to deal with solving the bottom number in the fraction. Whoa! I know, amazing, huh? And finally, the last question I take up is going to deal with solving the angle itself. There are technically 3 different ways. The ratios, they're all set up the same way, but there are 3 different variables you guys can solve. So I'm going to make up a question quick. Okay, so it's Lewis versus Lewis. Lewis the student has to slay Lewis the monster. He has to throw a spear directly into the, we'll say the eye of Lewis the monster, okay? So, first of all, that means he's dealing with the angle of what? Depression or elevation? Good. So we'll say this is his hand, and he needs to draw, he needs to throw the spear directly in the eye, okay? We'll say that the angle of elevation is 55. Okay, so that's supposed to say 55 degrees. What I need to figure out, and I'm going to say that Lewis is, what's the number they've given me? We'll say 50 meters away from the monster. Okay? We need to figure out, this is not a very good idea, but anyways, we got to figure out apparently how high it is from his pelvis to his eyeball. Okay? So we're looking for this here. So first thing I got to do is set up this triangle. So I've created a triangle. I need to find out from his waist to his eye what that distance is for some reason. Okay? So I know that he is 50 meters away, and I know the angle of elevation is 55 degrees. So, first of all, where's my hypotenuse? Opposite of that corner. Okay, so here's our right angle. Here's our hypotenuse. Okay? The angle that we have, the side of the triangle we have a measurement for, is that the opposite of the angle we're dealing with or the adjacent? That's right. The angle we're dealing with, this is the adjacent side. Adjacent, okay? I forgot a lot of letters. Okay, there's our adjacent. So we're trying to solve for what side of the triangle? What side is left? Opposite, very good. Oh, my. Okay? So there's the opposite side. We have an angle. We have the adjacent. We're trying to find the opposite. Which of the 3 ratios do we need to use? That's right. We need to use tangent. Oh, no, that's not working. So let's set up our tangent. Tangent theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Okay? So we have our theta. We know what the angle is. So we have tangent. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. It is opposite over adjacent. Thank you. Thank goodness I got you, Christian. We need to solve for the opposite, and we have the adjacent. So we'll call that x. So gentlemen, pay attention to this part, because clearly none of you guys were able to do the last one, I noticed. I need to solve for side x. So this is just like any algebraic expression. I need to get the variable by itself. So this says divided by 50. How would I move the 50 to the other side? Multiply. So I need to multiply both sides of the equation by 50. So this now equals x, and I have 50 times tangent 55. So tangent 55 you have to do in your calculator. 50 times tangent 55 is equal to 1.42, we'll say. 1.42 equals x. X equals times 50, 71.4. So what that means is from the monster's hip to his eyeball, it is 71.4 meters high. The monster Lewis's hip to his eyeball, 71.4 meters high. Do you guys have any questions about how we set up that triangle out? So, I've now discovered how high it is from his hip to his eye, but I also need to figure out how far Lewis needs to throw this spear in order to get his eye. So he's got to throw it from here all the way to here. Yes, that's right. I could use Pythagorean theorem to solve that, or I'm going to set up tangent ratio again and show you how to solve it using the exact same idea. So, tangent theta equals opposite over adjacent. Oh, sorry. We're not using tangent. So, gentlemen, first of all, I need to find out hypotenuse. I don't want to use Pythagorean theorem. I want you guys to try to set up a different ratio. Which of the ratios can I use? Would I be using sine or cos? It doesn't matter. I have the measurement of the opposite, and I have the measurement of the adjacent. So I could use either of them. In this one, I'm going to use the adjacent and the hypotenuse, so which of the ratios would I work with? Cosine, that's right. Good. You guys are actually better at this than the other class. So did they. Adjacent over hypotenuse. So, we know what our angle is. Our angle was 55. Our adjacent side was 50. And we need to find the hypotenuse, so we'll call that x. So, in this question, again, I got to get my x by itself. This one's a little more difficult, guys. So, I need to move the x to the other side because I don't want it to be on a fraction. So I'm going to multiply both sides by x. Which is going to be 50 is equal to x times cos 55. And now I still need to get x by itself. So I'm going to divide this side by cos 55. And I'm going to divide this side by cos 55. And remember, this x and this x canceled out. Now this cos 55 and that cos 55 cancels out. So this is now set up with x is equal to 50 over cos 55. So we got to figure out what our x is now. Cos, part is difficult. So 55 over cos 55 is 0.57. So x is equal to 50 divided 0.57, 87. So according to this question, guys, Lewis needs to throw the spear 87.7 meters in the air in order to hit the eye of Lewis the Monster, which makes perfect sense because this is the longest side. 87.7 is longer than our adjacent and our opposite sides. So it works out perfectly. Finally, I need to find out, let's say I want to find out the angle of depression from the Monster Lewis to Lewis the student. So I'm looking for a new angle now, okay? And there is a faster way to do this, but I'm going to set up a ratio just so you guys have the idea. Yeah, that's right. That's right. All triangles add up to 180, so the fast way to solve this would you just take 180 and subtract 90 and 55. But I want to set up a ratio. So I need to solve that angle there. And since we haven't used sine yet, what is going to be, first of all, what's the hypotenuse to this angle? Does it change at all? No, it's still 87.7. Here's what's different. Where's the opposite of this angle? It's what the adjacent used to be. So opposite of this angle is this 50 meters here. Okay, so I'm going to set this up, sine, and we were doing sine in red before. Sin in red. Okay, so sine theta equals 50 over 87. Okay, let's finish this question. So, I have my sine theta. This is the difficult part that you guys need to be able to figure out. So, first of all, we do 50 divided by our hypotenuse, which is 87.7 we discovered. That's going to leave me with 0.57. Okay. Now, gentlemen, this is the part that's difficult. In order to find an angle in your calculator, you have to use inverse of that ratio. So what that's going to look like is, in order to inverse this, I'll show you the quick math. Technically what I'm doing is I'm dividing by just sine. Okay? And because you can't actually divide by sine on your calculator, you need to make it inverse. So it becomes sine to the negative 1, 0.57. But a quick way you can think of this is if you go back to here where we were, where we had our sine theta equals 0.57. Think of it like this. If you have to move the ratio to the other side, just make it the inverse. Sine negative 1 to 0.57. Okay? So this is going to be different in your calculator. When you go to type this in, it'll probably be second function. So let's see what we got here. 0.57. Second function sine. There we go. 34.7. So, once again, going way up to the top, the angle of depression from Lewis the Monster's eye is 34.7 degrees, according to this. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah, that makes almost sense. It should have been 35 on the dot. Okay?